Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. As you can see that there is a change in my face and the lighting. I do not have makeup on and I've put on a warm light setup. Cozy mood I hope. My makeup kind of broke on this journey that I went to Bangalore. Hence this setup might be there for a while until I can buy makeup again, and I was kind of tired throughout the whole day. So let's focus on the content for today, and I'll change it back up to my original lighting. But if you like this kind of setup once in a while, please let me know because I am free to try to set up as many kinds of different lighting as possible. Okay, let's get started then. Alright, so as usual, we will be, of course, accompanied by background uh, traffic. But today's topic is books that I've read and discovered before I discovered Booktube. And I would probably start off by saying that it's Booktube gave me slightly specific genres that I had only started reading after I was introduced to it, and but that's not the attitude I'm going here with. It's just that I have read various different kind of genres before I entered Booktube, and I'm also very grateful to myself for that. And I'm just gonna point out how my life changed before and after Booktube, the pros and cons too, depending on also the kind of books that I bought, what kind of consumption I've done, and that kind of stuff. So these are the kind of book talks that we have a lot of fun doing, where we reminisce the times before social media came in and how did we go to bookstores or libraries and discovered the kind of books that were not exactly influenced back then or recommended back then by booktubers. It's a negative and a positive thing, however you may take it. And I like going back in time and realizing what made me love reading in the first place. So before I joined or discovered BookTube, mostly before I discovered BookTube, me and my sister had kind of similar tastes in books where we read Nora Roberts with very toxic men in them, and we kind of didn't realize what we were reading and what kind of content it was giving out, what kind of message it was giving out for girls and boys. No, even though romance is mostly read by women and girls, and other than that, I we also read various other stuff, and then she went off to college and she got busy, and her reading tastes changed too, but mine mostly remained the same. Booktube was the first thing that came to me after she left for college. It's not a bad thing; it's a good thing, but it also has some changes that have now made me also look at the how social media has also negatively affected me. But mostly we're gonna be in the past more than the present. So going back even more further in time, we had this really great bookstore called Landmark in like 10 minutes away from our drive, and I used to go there with either my parents or my grandparents, and uh, I took my own sweet time, and this was way before the dangerous debit card came into my life. I used to get just 500 rupees per month, so I would go to the bookstore. I would just like spend at least half an hour there, just getting lost in the aisles, purposely checking out whichever cover like just drew me first. I'd just pick it up, I'd read the synopsis, and I just love it so much. And one of the books that I discovered there on my own, and nobody had ever recommended it to me, was Legend by Mary Lou. And it was just so thrilling for me to read something like that. It was my first dystopian novel. And I never realized how tired my parents or grandparents could have been back then, because there was not one option place over there to at least sit down and read. And I'm sorry, folks, I was so selfish and so lost in buying my books. And sometimes I knew that I could extend that amount of money a little more if I couldn't let go of one of the books. So the point where I'm going with this is that before I discovered Booktube, I had a very small TBR per month, like buying wise. Okay, my book hauls were really small; they were just limited to 3 books per month, and I actually finished those books. And then until the next month, I would go to the library. I would check out other books or whatever my father would recommend me. Like, there were so many books that he recommended. The Incident of the Dog at the Night Time, and he also recommended me The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But what I'm saying is that it was limited, and I accomplished the goal of reading these books. I know that we are accountable for ourselves, and that we should not blame social media so much that it's influencing us to spend more money on uh, books or any other sort of entertainment. But back then, thank God, I did not know that, and I kept it to a minimum. And it's one of the great days I actually miss, and I'd like to go back to. And it's a very, very dangerous habit to not to be able to read the amount of books that I've actually bought, and I'm still suffering from it, and I'd like to get out of it. I do not want to hold any kind of social media accountable. See, it always depends on who you follow, how you follow, and it also depends on how much you can control yourself, no matter how much money the other person is putting. They're earning their money, they decide what to do with it. So it's up to me to realize how I am going to spend that money, and uh, what kind of stuff I'm going to also spend it on. So I don't remember which year I discovered BookTube, but I will go back and let you know. So the next book was Anne of Green Gables. This I literally discovered on my own. Like, I was going through the classic section and I found this, and you must have been finally like waiting for me to say it, because you guys, I hope you guys have watched the BookTube newbie tag. If not, I'll link it down below. But Anne of Green Gables was one of my first favorite books of all time. And during school, I never had time to read sequels, and so I did not even know that this was actually a series. But right now, also, I'm too lazy to read it. There are, of course, more books that I've read before I was introduced to BookTube, which was Mediator series by Matt Cabot. I discovered them on my own. I was not too fond of the Princess Diaries, but I love the Mediator series and her other Chiclet and the paranormal ones. And I also discovered Vampire Academy and Throne of Glass before BookTube, I think. But I'm not too sure. I think I'll go back and check the dates. Uh, Maybe the bookstore recommended them, or I just picked them up, like copies of them up, and I read the synopsis because the copy is amazing. Girls with like blades. That was like the new uh, physical bravado of feminist heroines. What I would like to say is that my journey was great in discovering books, but it was also great discovering you, because Booktube helped me in understanding the whys and the whats of loving certain genres and categories, and it really helped me to have eye-opening reviews of books. So what happened was that Booktube helped in broadening my horizons by listening to people who did not also like my favorite books and why they despised it, why they hated it, and it did not make me hate the person who wrote the books or who reviewed it or who also read them. So there are flaws in characters. There's a um, way of writing. There is plot, and that Booktube teaches very well. Because see, books are not perfect pieces of art. Okay, they have. You can still enjoy something broken and flawed, and what's important is that you're aware of what you're reading and how you perceive it and get influenced by it. So let's end it right here, and thank you very much for joining me. Please do come back for more.